New card. What do you think?
Get over here!
Hadouken!
That man is playing Galaga.
I understood that reference.
You shall not pass! So say we all. So say we all.
Ride with me?
It's adamantium tasting time, boys.
Well, make it so, number one.
All wings report in.
And welcome to your weekly interval. This is the Best Damn Nerd Show. I'm your host, microphone alchemist, Bimbo Jimbo Kincaid. With me tonight, Imperial Commissar Jeff Budd.
Top billing goes to me again, doink.
We're doing doink now. Like, we're calling people
Introduce
doinks.
this doink for me, James.
And back in the bottom position, Professor Chris Davis, the lone gunman, the doink. What's going on?
You're sounding real sus right now, James.
Okay, great.
Real
Good.
sus.
We're already doing that. Like we as Jeff said off the air. Sorry, that's a little bit of a spoiler. We're keeping up with the kids. But welcome back to the Best Damn Nerd Show.
Need that younger demographic.
That's right. We need it. We are continuing on with our October spooktaculars, and tonight the main topic of conversation will be horror in gaming. Last week we did in television. And this week we're going to be doing gaming, mostly video games. But as Jeff is a board game expert, we're going to talk about some of those as well, which are some of my favorite games that I've ever played. And there's going to be some crossover on this episode of maybe properties that we've already talked about. But before we get into all of that, we have to revisit the Horror October Madness bracket. It was the semifinals this week. And my goodness, what a tremendous battle, a nail biter on the edge of our seats. We all were, as it really
contentious, man.
Came down to the wire in a thriller on one side of it. The one seed, Michael Myers, by the skin of one of his victims' teeth, moves on over Jason, the 2 seed. 13-10 was the final tally. There was some voter movement right at the very end there, most notably lore master Timothy Childs, when he asked where the voting was done. I could see it coming from a mile away, and I knew he was going to switch his vote. What I didn't know is that who he had voted for originally, and originally he had voted for Jason and then defected over to Michael Myers. So I had a feeling that Tim would have preferred to have it gone the other way to try and torpedo the process even more, but it didn't work out. So Michael Myers is moving on. And on the other side, it was not close. Freddy, the 2 seed, just stomped on Chucky, the 1 seed, 19-4. Freddy is moving on into the finals to face Michael Myers. I want to get your guys' thoughts on how it all played out, and just shout out to everybody in the Discord, because that's where this, most of this is going down. It's all going down in the Discord. It's bestdamnnerdshow.com/Discord if you want to get involved in this process and the voting and the conversation, the back and forth, the shit talking. It's been a ton of fun, and I just love all the participation. It's been great. But Jeff, what's your take on how things have sort of gone down?
I've absolutely loved it, especially this week, because those are probably my top 4 anyway, so it was good to see them all face off against each other. My childhood, I feel, was tormented most by Freddy and Chucky, so it was kind of interesting to see the two of them face off. And rightly so, Freddy just annihilated them, which is what it should have been. And then with Michael Myers and Jason, I voted for Michael Myers, but I mean, I didn't feel good about it one way or the other. I was like, I like them both. We've talked about how Jason obviously is sort of like the next evolutionary step from Michael Myers in terms of like slasher movies and everything like that. I was kind of happy either way, but the reason I really wanted to stick with Michael Myers is not only is he the classic, but I've seen Freddy versus Jason. So it's like, now it's kind of cool to see something a little different. I mean, it's like, I don't want us to have to retread old ground. It's like, we just post the movie, like a bootleg of the movie in the Discord. Actually, this is what happened.
Here you go.
This is how it ends.
We just play that as the episode's just the audio with no context? Actually, damn it, I could have used a week off. But maybe we'll open the voting again. But yeah, I can assure you there was no chicanery. There was no rigging of the polls.
Oh, those mystery votes seem pretty sus.
So we'll get into some sus. And yes,
and
Jonathan
then,
Craig.
and Michael Myers with the sex appeal, with the pictures that were being posted. I don't know. All of it was a bit shady.
I thought that was quite an October surprise, those photos being leaked. So, there's election going on.
The man was on vacation. Leave him alone.
I
definitely
felt bad.
some political grandstanding going on for votes here.
I felt bad asking people so much to vote because I know you're all getting assailed by that on your social media, and if it's anything like you've been getting texts from everyone asking you to vote one way or another. It's just ridiculous.
Does Big Brother not already know that I am registered to vote and that I have voted? Like, I mean, why are we playing this game where you remind me every time I'm on Facebook or Instagram that I need to register to vote? You know who I am. You know what's going on.
Yeah,
you have
exactly.
access to my texts and emails.
Don't be coy with me. But yeah, I know that's been annoying. But again, the participation on there was great. I have to shout out listener Riku, which that is the canon pronunciation of your name now. Whether you wanted it to be Riku or something else, it's now Riku, who is the leader of the sort of the Friday the 13th and Jason caucus. Made a pledge to throw his support behind Michael Myers now moving forward. And so tip of the cap to you. But we'll see if that happens, though. It could be a little bit fractured between the fan bases moving forward. But Davis, what do you think of how everything's gone down so far?
I mean, I called this last week. Put the bets on in Vegas, boys. I'm lining it up, knocking them down. I'm 100%. So put your money down with whatever I say tonight, and you'll be good.
So what are you saying tonight, then?
We're betting money, right?
Yeah. This is for money.
Where I'm going
and prestige.
Well, if we're moving forward on this, I am. It's hard because I want to put everything into Freddy because I think he should be the best. I like him the best. But if I'm actually thinking about who would win between these two, I don't feel like Michael Myers goes to sleep. I don't think he's going to have the same problem that a lot of these other, horror villains would have against Freddy.
That's probably fair. He could maybe be put to sleep, though. But it's funny. I have the opposite sort of inclination, is that I easily prefer Michael Myers. And I love Freddy, but Michael Myers is one of my favorite horror characters ever, maybe my very favorite in terms of villains. But I do feel like in terms of power level, Freddy is, depending on which Halloween movies you're going by, is even more supernatural than Michael, so might have a leg up there. But it is going to be, I think that where I'm most interested in is to see how the sort of the voting demographics break down. Is that, do the people that really supported, Jason, how tough was it for like Jeff? Were a lot of them sort of like coin flip and some of them just happen to go for Jason and now will shift over to Michael, or will they go over to Freddy? It's very interesting to me. Jeff, how do you see that breaking down?
Well, and then also maybe you thought it was close between Jason and Michael, but you were like, both of them are a far second place to Freddy Krueger. I mean,
could be.
Yeah, you never know. As far as I see it breaking down, I don't think there's any loyalty to whoever won your bracket, just because all of them are very different and distinct. I don't know who I'm going to vote for. There's definitely a strong argument to be made for either one of them, just like there was for Michael and Jason. Chucky was the only one who was fighting out of his, weight class at the end there. And not that I don't love Chucky, and I'm glad he made it that far, but incorrectly placed as first seed. I think we can all agree.
I think that he made it to the semifinals, and anything can happen outside of Ghostface not making it. Those were the five that I wanted to see make a nice little run. Yeah. I did not expect Jason to have as easy as a time of it with Ghostface, but man, he's, like I was saying in the Discord today, and I think I was talking on the episode with you and Mark last week, Davis, just in terms of like the iconic nature of the hockey mask and everything like that, is just there's instant recognizability with Jason. And I think that played a big role. I was excited watching it go down today and watch it go down to the last couple of minutes of the polls being open. And it was a lot of fun, and I would have been fine either way if Jason had got by Michael. I said on the last episode, it's kind of what I expected. But I'm happy that Michael Myers is moving on. Me and the Gay Florida Nerd will be championing Michael in the finale, but I would not be surprised either way on how the voting turns out. But it's been a ton of fun.
Yeah, I think people are going to be voting on who they like the most. I don't know if they're going to go off who they think would win between the two. And so if I were to put my money behind that, I'm gonna go with Freddy then. I think people just see him more and like him, and he's just more memorable. So
people love Freddy.
I think we're going to see a Freddy champion.
I got a couple things to say. One, talking about the recognizability of the hockey mask. We're probably not going to go in detail of it tonight, even though it fits this category. Splatterhouse, the arcade game, where the protagonist even wears like a hockey mask. I mean, Jason really is like just associated with all of that. I don't think Freddy Krueger has had a close match the entire time. So Freddy could easily just, walk right into the championship circle
could
or whatever.
Sleepwalk right in there.
Yeah, he might. I don't know. So, I mean, I feel like Michael has always had a close match.
Closer than some of them should have been, that's for sure.
Yeah, so, I mean, that might be telling right there. But then at the same time, I mean, did, Freddy rest a little bit early on in the playoffs? Where Michael Myers was heating up just when you're supposed to be? And it's like, is Freddy more prone to injuries now because of this?
I love it. Well, I do
the
think
guy's
that,
been coasting since after Thanksgiving.
He hasn't
Michael
been tested
Myers,
yet. He's not ready.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Michael Myers has been tested. He is battle hardened. Freddy, I do think that
easy division, Freddy.
The easier path to the championship, I really do believe, was on the B side of the bracket. So Freddy maybe playing the LeBron James role in the Eastern Conference. When he was at the Cavs or the Heat, and just tap dancing his way in, and maybe we'll lose eventually to a much far superior Western Conference team, hopefully in Michael Myers. I don't know. It remains to be seen, but I'm excited by it. And I loved all the conversation. It's already got me thinking about other brackets that we can do, and we'll take it to the Discord and sort of have even more participation in how those shape up further, because some of the things that listeners have suggested is wanting to be involved on that process and everything. And, the true believers
too many cooks
out
in the
there
kitchen. Know your place. Shut up.
I know how Jeff feels about suggestions for movie nights, but I do think that if you're a true believer in the Discord and everything like that you should have we'll at least take your thoughts under advisement, and it's just been really fun. So stay tuned for that. I already have I have some thoughts on what the next one should be, lining up with what has come down the pike.
We had a few ideas.
Ravenous follow-up, correct?
Never.
Okay.
Never. Ravenous doesn't even make an 8 seed.
If we can get Guy Pearce.
Yeah, if we can get Guy Pearce. We could do just a Guy Pearce movie bracket, actually.
Oh, dude, Lockout.
Yeah, Lockout's a 1 seed for sure.
Edmund Exley interrogation scene, too? Oh, my goodness.
Yep.
Let's do that. All right. Hey, you know what? Fuck the horror thing. Let's just go and do the
Yeah, let's just do that.
You know what? All right. No, folks.
Yeah,
Vote's canceled. Time.
Yeah.
We're going to this right now.
We're kissing your sister, so to speak. And they're not stuck in the washing machine. All right, let's... Okay. All right. But, it's sort of in preparation... Yeah, I'll bet you do. In preparation for this topic, and you already referenced it, Jeff, in terms of the hockey mask, I've been playing Among Us, which is, of course, sweeping the world right now. It's sort of the new Fall Guys in terms of the buzz. I know it's been around for a little while now. I was not aware of that until Jeff told me, but it's definitely creating all the buzz right now. There's a hockey mask you can put on in Among Us. There's no Michael Myers mask. There might be something Freddy related, maybe the hat or the shirt. I'm not sure. But there definitely is the Jason hockey mask. But I've loved playing Among Us, and I think it is in line with what we're talking about tonight, which is horror video games, because it's a murder mystery game. It's like Clue meets I don't even know what you would call it, but I love I love playing the imposter most of all, and just getting to go around and killing other players and jumping in the vent and everything like that. Davis, you're not a fan of the game.
This game is riding on the coattails of so many other games like this. Concepts like you were talking about earlier, it's just like The Thing. You know, you're trying to figure out who the thing is, pretty much.
Yeah.
And all these other card games.
There's
like
even
Werewolf,
a map. There's even a map that's like the base in the thing.
Exactly. It's like Alien. Like who's the alien inside of?
What's wrong with that? It's free to play.
Been done. It's been done, and all these little kids are in there. If they're not the imposter, they just quit. And then if you say one thing about seeing somebody and you're truthful about it, you're just like, oh, you sus! You're out of here. It's like, no, bro, talk a little bit.
I think Davis is really bad at this game. I think Davis is sus.
I'm not good. I mean, let's lay that on the table first. I'm not good at it.
Davis is sus.
But yeah, no, I don't want the attention going away from Fall Guy, so I'm just like, this new game's
Dude,
going
Fall
over.
Guy,
I'm losing playership and playership.
I believe that
it died the day James won.
I retire as champion.
That game is pretty sus if James is winning. So.
I think that Fall Guys.
I quit because I don't even give a shit. I'm over it. Whatever.
Yeah, sure. Among Us and Fall Guys are in the same universe.
Do you think Among Us just falls off the cliff now since AOC played it, and it's like your parents finding it and thinks it's cool?
No.
Dude.
No, the thing about it is that people are going to move on from it probably. Relative. That it just seems to be the cycle in quarantine. We had Tiger King. We had
remember Tiger King?
Yeah, it's fucking ancient.
Yeah, 6 months ago.
Damn.
Seemed like years.
We had the Last Dance, and then we had Fall Guys, which was terrific. I am a former champion, and now we have Among Us. John never won shit, and now that is canon. Just like Riku is the canon pronunciation of Riku's name. But I think I would love to get us all playing a Best Damn Nerd Show Among Us for a couple rounds. That'd be super fun, and I think it would be fun either on text or on voice. I think it might even be a little bit. I think it's more mysterious if it's via text.
Well, yeah, because otherwise it's like, Jeff, what are you doing? It's like, nothing.
Mark's just like, I'm not sus.
I don't know. It's Secret Hitler, and Mark just starts shooting everybody away.
That's what I was trying to reach for. It's like Clue and Secret Hitler sort of fused together. It's great.
It's like it's just like when we were in Vegas for Jeff's bachelor party, we were playing that card game that we love so much, and we were trying to figure out who the fascists are.
Yeah, Secret Hitler.
Yeah, Secret Hitler.
Is that Secret Hitler?
Jesus.
Okay,
yeah,
that's the name of it.
What do you think Secret Hitler is?
Did you think we were playing like another game? Like,
I was just looking in my pocket for Hitler.
He thought we were talking about that Secret Hitler that we have that we're growing in a vat.
yeah, fucking clone.
It's just that game on a ship in a video game. It's been done like 20 times.
Great.
Well, Secret Hitler had been done before too, but you still enjoyed it. Man, I gotta have a glass of water here because Davis's takes are salty.
Davis's takes are salty, and you're really sus, Davis. Like, the first time I play with you, I'm gonna vote you out.
Yeah, everybody does because I'm just truthful.
I think
nobody likes the truth.
That's the heart of this issue here. Is that Davis? I think you're just not really good at Among Us. Have you been the imposter before, and how long did you last?
I lasted a good while. I only got to be it once. I didn't know it, and I didn't win.
It's very satisfying when
I lost. I think I made it to like the last 4. So
yeah. Well, I definitely think that we should get a Best Damn Nerd Show Among Us game going, maybe with some people from the Discord. Again, that's bestdamnnerdshow.com/Discord. But we're going to keep talking video games in the horror genre as it is October, and we're continuing with our spooktacular episodes here on the Best Damn Nerd Show. So we will get into that more on the other side.
So, Tim, we're relaunching the Best Damn Nerd Show, but before we give our listeners any content, it's time to make a couple dollars.
Yeah. And I'm all about selling out. So like, give me the money.
This episode is actually sponsored by Anchor.fm. We also use them as our podcast host, and they're really great because it's a free platform. They have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast from your phone or computer. They also distribute the podcast, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. And you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership, hence this sponsorship read right now.
Well, that sounds perfect because I love money and I love things that are easy. So how do I get involved with Anchor?
It is easy money. It's free money. I mean, you're basically losing money if you don't start a podcast on Anchor.fm. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. You just got to download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor.fm to get started.
I'm on my way.
All right, on with the show.
All right.
Hey everyone, Chris Seglia here, CEO of the Tenno Media Network. I would like to say thank you for checking out one of our podcasts, but we need your help. You can support Tenno in a multitude of ways. By going to our website and checking out our latest podcasts, by buying some sweet merch, joining our Discord, or getting early and exclusive access to all content via our Patreon. Your support means the world to us, and you can find everything on our website, www.ten-o.gg. That's ten-o.gg. Thank you again, and now, back to the show.
Nerdosphere, it's the microphone alchemist Bimbo Jimbo here, and we want you to be in on the conversation with us. So sound off to us in our Discord, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at the BDNS. And maybe you actually like the Star Wars prequels and sequels. Maybe you think the MCU should be a comedy open mic night on the big screen. Whatever you think, we love to feature the hottest takes from our fans on the show. So remember, if you're a nerd, always say it loud and say it proud. Welcome back to the Best Damn Nerd Show. Bimbo Jimbo with Jeff Budd and Chris Davis, and we are going to be talking about horror games. And, before the break, we were talking a little bit about Among Us, and I needed to share this with Jeff. Maybe I did in the Discord, but I don't remember. Some of my favorite things about playing Among Us is when you do get a good group of players that, aren't just trolls that are going to hit the emergency button or just quit or whatever. But when you find a good group of people, it's kind of a fun experience. It's kind of like the Pedalars and Thundercats, because it can't last forever. They're going to disappear. But
I've known them my entire lives.
Exactly.
I've known the
But
Thundercats.
If you get a good group going, it can be really fun. And what I didn't read this person's name because I'm still super new to the game, but I was like, wait, is that person's name is Zuko's Rage, a la Avatar: The Last Airbender, and they were also colored red, which was great for the Fire Nation.
Do you get to pick the color?
Unless it's already taken, but yes. And so I started like in the chat, like we're trying to find out who the killer is. I was like, oh my God. I was like, your name's Zuko's Rage. Like, that's awesome. I was like, can I be your Iroh? And he's like, yes, uncle. And so for the rest of the time, it was just the two of us, like just walking around together, just doing stuff together the whole time. And then we got separated at one point. I get killed. And the next guy's like, no, uncle, I failed you. How I restore my honor. And we're just like dropping quotes the rest of the time that we're playing together. Probably annoyed everybody else. I fucking loved it though. I was having a blast. And then one time red was already taken. So he got blue. And I was like, oh, you're like the blue spirit now. So he put the mask on too to match it. It's fucking great. It was awesome. So you can make new friends on Among Us as well. But let's get into the actual horror games. Talk a little bit about their origins for us and at large. The earliest sort of scary video game in that vein that you recall playing, Jeff?
Ooh, that's actually scary.
Not necessarily scary, but in genre, like is it dealing with vampires? Is it
then it's definitely the Castlevania series.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, but if horror game that actually creeped me out, Resident Evil 2.
Okay.
Like I used to have to play it during daytime when I would come home from school, and I would mute the TV and I would just listen to like really positive music while I was playing, because it
I want
creeped
to
the
hear
shit
more
out of
about
me.
that in a minute. What did you think of the OG Castlevania though?
I don't remember which Castlevania I played first. It wasn't the original, but it was one of those. Maybe the one for the Super Nintendo? I'm not sure. But which actually I think is just a remake of the first or second one. Something like that. But I loved it because it's just a straight up platformer. Thought it was kind of interesting that you fight a vampire with a whip, but whatever. The Hunter's Whip is one of my favorite like video game weapons of all time. Right up there with the Master Sword. So, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Belmonts. I like the idea of the games taking place like throughout history, so it's different members of the same clan going up against Dracula. I don't know. I like the idea of this family that's just made this vow, and they're always there standing between humanity and darkness, and just their great abilities. And then, I mean, story-wise, I mean, stories back then in the original games are pretty light to begin with. And then, I mean, there's backstory and everything like that if you want to read stuff. And now they're more intense. But I kind of like that. You just leave it to your own imagination.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Castlevania series is excellent, and I, like you, I've always had sort of a thing for witch hunters or vampire hunters, monster hunters in general. It's just
and nobody's
kind of
better than the Belmonts.
Yeah, it's a cool archetype, and yeah, they did it really well in that. Castlevania is definitely the first one that I remember sort of being exposed to that in video game form. How about you, Davis? Was it Castlevania as well?
Castlevania was. I want to say it was Castlevania, and I think it was just a rental because I didn't own it. But I definitely played it. But the one that I probably played first that I owned, if we're gonna classify it as, is Doom. And
okay, yeah,
because
totally.
It is demons, it's just
fighting hell. Yeah,
you're fighting hell.
You can go to hell. Yeah,
that was probably the one that I played first and the most. And then there's one right after. I was trying to figure out which one I was playing first, and if we're just going off the trope was like zombies, vampires, stuff like that, then Zombies Ate My Neighbors was a big time favorite in my house.
That's a good one.
So we got some zombies, but it's a good time. It's a little lighthearted. It's not so scary. Good for the kiddos.
That reminds me of another one I used to play, Monster Party. Did you guys ever play Monster Party for the Nintendo? Where you're that kid coming back from baseball practice and you become friends with that little monster, and then you go to the world of the monsters to fight all the evil monsters?
I never played that.
Do yourself a favor and look it up on YouTube, like one of the Games Done Quickly playthroughs or something like that. It is so off the wall and bizarre. You have to fight. You're fighting things like a Medusa or a giant spider or a giant shrimp tempura. It is a weird fucking game, but it is so choice.
Jeff, what was the game you mentioned before the break that involved had the hockey mask in it?
I believe I
the
closed
arcade
that
game.
window. Splatterhouse.
Slaughter.
Which my brother and I, we used to play that in a 7-Eleven back when 7-Elevens had arcade games before they were sick of kids loitering. And you basically, I think it's mostly a one-player game, but I think there are some two-player co-ops out there. You're just basically like this Jason guy, and you're throwing axes at monsters. I think the story, I looked it up a couple of years ago, is actually pretty dark and twisted. You are like a regular person, and like your fiance or your wife is like kidnapped into like this scary house or something, and you have to put on this monster mask to give you the powers to fight these things. But like the mask is also like devouring your soul or whatever. You can't keep it on forever or you're going to turn into a monster. And I think there's like alternate endings, and they're not all happy. In fact, I think most of them are unhappy endings. There's like a timer component. If you don't make it soon enough, your wife turns into a monster or something like that. And you're forced to kill her. There's like a lot of bizarre shit.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Look that up though too. That's a sick game.
Yeah, that sounds.
And him looking like Jason is what drew us to it, because Jason is just one of the guys that was around when we were kids, and that's who we just assumed we were playing. We were Jason. We were like too little to like really read all the dialogue and stuff in the game. We just put in the quarters, move from left to right, and just spam that button. Throwing axes.
You'll be fine. Yeah, you'll be fine. All right, keeping it with Jason, the Friday the 13th game on the Nintendo. It's I think made even more famous by the angry Nintendo nerd or angry video game nerd, depending on what you want to call him.
When you tuned into his show?
Yeah, exactly. He'll always be the angry Nintendo nerd to me. Yeah. But, he did a very famous video trashing the game and talking about how shitty it was and stuff. Deserved or not deserved, Jeffrey?
I say not deserved. I got that one. That was the first game I ever bought at a pawn shop. And I absolutely adored it. I was terrified of Jason in the game. And my mom used to laugh at us because she goes, he's 4 inches tall. But you get, it's so weird because kids today aren't going to understand it just because of the graphics and what games are like now. But as crappy as that is, with your imagination and like just playing it, like you do get absorbed into that world. You do become one of those camp counselors. I liked the game because I thought it was designed really well. Great open world. You can explore the entire summer camp. A bit of a timer because there's, I want to say like 6 or 8 playable characters, like 4 boys, 4 girls as the counselors. If you don't go to the other counselor houses, Jason will kill them. and then you don't have that character to play as anymore. Like, and because every time you die, you get to be one of the other counselors. But if Jason already got them, you're fucked.
That's
and
a
then
wrap.
there's right by the lake is like where the little kids are staying, and you got to protect them from Jason too. Damn! When Jason would pop up, when you're walking around in one of those cabins, and it's just the old graphics of moving left, moving right, shifting around, going from room to room, and then da-da-da, and Jason's there, and he's just. Oh man, I love it. And then you kill him, but he's just gone for a little bit, and he comes back and he's stronger than ever. It's just so much fun.
Yeah, you're right though. You hit on something that I was actually going to bring up later on, but it's the idea that video games are a great genre for horror because you are sort of so locked in that you do get swept up into it more so than maybe a movie where you can
and you're forced
joke
to
around
interact
with your friends.
Like I can't close my eyes and
Exactly.
avoid a scene, or else the story does not continue.
Exactly. And so, whereas you're, maybe like in a movie or whatever, not paying full attention or anything, like if you're playing a really good game, they're going to get you with one of those jump scares because you're going to get locked into what you're doing, and then that they know exactly when to get you. So I'm glad you brought that up. But Davis, did you play the Friday the 13th game or have a take on the Nintendo?
I saw this on the rundown, and this was the first time I knew it was a game. I never played it. I had to look it up because of the trash talking I was hearing about.
It's so superior to the Nightmare on Elm Street one.
I will say compared to that and the Halloween game, it does have a leg up, but not much of one. It is it's a stretch. The music.
It's all the zombies, isn't it?
Annoying too. The music was awful. It was like giving me a headache. I couldn't pay attention for too long because it was just so irritating.
I don't even remember it anymore.
It was awful. And then I was just watching the gameplay. I'm like, oh man, the games that we played that we love so much are so simple now.
Hey, some of
Take
the best
me back,
games,
man.
Yeah, seriously. Well, I'm glad I had at least one defender. Maybe we should go back and play that too. But I wanted to give a shout out to Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre being a couple of Atari games that pretty much bankrupted the the developer that made them. Which I thought was an interesting footnote in getting ready for this. But yeah, just the horror video games, they go all the way back, to some of the earliest moments of video gaming. And as I want to switch gears here though now and talk about not necessarily our favorites, although I think there will be some crossover there, but the scariest moments in gaming for you, not necessarily your favorite overall game, but times that you were most afraid or they got you with the jump or something like that. Like Jeff, if you can flesh out a little bit more, because that's exactly what I was looking for. Resident Evil 2 and the fact that you would turn the volume down. Like, go into that.
All right, yeah. I'm really just scared of those games. I love them. I'm a huge fan of the series. Probably my favorite horror series. One of my favorite video game series of all time is just Resident Evil 2. I'm rocking my RPD shirt that I got for the Resident Evil 2 remake demo that I played at San Diego Comic-Con a couple years back. So this was the original Resident Evil 2, which was the first one I owned. I had it for the N64. It's fucking scary in the police station. I don't like it. It creeps me out. And there's a lot of zombies and stuff around. And so it got to the point I was pretty... Oh, man, I'm trying to think what was the first thing that really scared me. I'll tell you one thing, and they don't have this in the remake anymore. They won't even... It's designed differently. But if you go into the police station, you have the option to go either left or right. You're supposed to go left. And eventually you are going to go left because that's the way the story progresses. But if you go right, you're fucked because you really don't have enough ammunition or enough like good weapons yet, and there are so many zombies, and so like that's pretty scary. The first time you face a licker is pretty fucking terrifying, especially not even the cinematic where you see it crawling on the ceiling, but the little part before that where it's crawling across the window and it's like, what the hell was that? Where are we? What's going on? Because it's the first non-zombie enemy you fight as well too. But it was past the STARS office. I think it was like when I was outside and getting ready to like put out the fire and everything like that. I just said fuck it, and every time I would log on to the game, I would just mute the TV. I'd be blasting like some like real like happy dipshit music. I forget exactly what it was, but it was like just real upbeat
Jeff's listening to Creed.
And and I would log in the cheat for unlimited ammo so I could just have the shotgun out. I was like, I'm just gonna go through this with the shotgun because I don't want to fight the zombies right now. And so I would just shoot through everything and just do like headshots with the shotgun, or at least just unload on them as I would go through the rest of the police station. And then fuck part B with Mr. X and everything just coming out. That's the worst.
I love that you're playing it in the daytime. Muted
Oh yeah, and I would
with
only play like
positive
right
music.
after school. And it was like when I was in high school, so I would come home earlier than like my brother, and so I was like alone in the house, which is another reason. It's like if I'm gonna play Resident Evil by myself in the house, it's like I'm already playing with fire, so that's why I needed to do all those things. And then yeah, if it's sunset, we're done for the night, folks. Let's pop in Mario Party.
Yeah, something a little happier and more colorful. That's
no
great.
high stakes Mario Tennis.
Yeah,
Play
that's
court.
great. I did not know that. That's awesome. That's exactly what I was looking for. Davis, how about you? Any scares that you remember from games?
Oh yeah, one of my favorite series. It's actually similar to Resident Evil, not as good as panned, I guess you could say. Dino Crisis. I love.
Oh fuck!
yeah.
I remember
Dino Crisis
Dino
series.
Crisis.
It plays just like Resident Evil, but the T-Rex jump scares they would have in those games were just. They made Jurassic Park look like just child's play, and so it's
With
the
Chucky?
way that they. Yeah, a little like Chucky. That's why he lost. So those games always like had you on your toes. The jump scares were always around the corner. We will forget about Dino Crisis 3 in space. We will not talk about that.
Like
I'm interested in that one.
The graphics were much better, but the game, however, not so much. The other one that I remember, I just freaked myself out. And it's not. I'm not sure if you can really call it so much a horror game, even though it's set up to just keep you on your toes. Oh God, I can't even. Shoot, the Big Daddy. When you come across the first Big Daddy, and
BioShock.
the underwater and BioShock.
BioShock, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not really like a horror game, but it has the horror elements of the little girls coming out of the hole, but the first time you come across a Big Daddy, he's just like dragging his weapon behind him, and it's the creepiest thing, and you don't have the weapons to fight him. You're not powerful enough yet, and you're just running away from him, and he's just chasing you. And those moments always got me pretty good.
Yeah, I can imagine. For me, there is a scene in Eternal Darkness. I may have even talked about this specifically, but you're playing as the main character, Alexandra Roivas, and it's pretty early in game, and you're going through this house with all this creepy shit, and this is a game where your sanity meter starts playing tricks on you and stuff like that. But you're going through the house, and you're just in a bathroom, just regular bathroom, and then all of a sudden it does a jump scare where you have like a sanity like loss moment, and you just see yourself in the bathtub, and the bathtub's full of blood, and everybody that I've seen play that game, it gets them every fucking time. Like that's like the number one jump scare in that game. It happens super early on, and it's so memorable to me. And along with some of the sanity scares, I know Jeff and we talked about on the Lovecraft episode where it's like deleting your save data is just like that's a scare of a different kind. That's a scare, that's a different kind.
I love that though. Oh my God, breaking the fourth wall. That is just so sick. I thought that was the coolest thing when I read about that in Nintendo Power. I was bummed that had been spoiled for me in case I had ever played the game, because what a sensation.
There's other ones in there too that's like the volume turns down on your TV and stuff like that, and they did a pretty good job of sort of emulating what most of the volume controls looked like at the time that it came out, which was really weird. I think there was another one where you decapitate yourself, like it's and just other things like that, and maybe not necessarily a scare, but in the similar sanity vein of manipulation. You can look at Metal Gear Solid when you're fighting Psycho Mantis, and he's like reading your memory card and telling you things about like other games you've played or how you play games.
That's
like
funny.
and you have to switch the controller port in order to beat him. Otherwise, he just predicts your movements and stuff like that, which is pretty fucking wild. That definitely is one that was a very nice sort of trick in this sort of trick or treat-esque thing. But gotta look at Until Dawn, which we'll talk about in more depth in a few minutes. But there's that game is full of great, like, just stereotypical slasher type film jump scares. But I think the best one is when you finally get to the cabin. Mike and Jess are in the cabin and they're about to get down and do the deed, and then she goes outside and she yells at who she believes are the other teenagers coming to spy on them and ruin their good time. And it's like straight out of a horror movie where she closes the door, her back is turned toward it, and there's this like little opening, and the Wendigo just reaches its hand, and you don't even know what the fuck it is at the time, and just pulls her out through that little window. I was like, what the fuck? Like, it was such a good like cliffhanger jump scare in a game that's full of them. Love the Until Dawn scares. And any other ones that freaked you out, Davis?
Well, we had our moments, even though we're not a big fan of the game, in Man of Medan and the sequel of Until Dawn, because we would be playing in our own house with each other, and there's these moments where
phrasing
you'd have to
we were playing with ourselves and we were talking to each other at the same time.
Your characters would be seeing something that the other person is not.
Nothing scary.
So you're really trying to figure out what the hell is going on with each other, and it was just like this really tense scary moment of if you should be doing if what you should be doing is the right thing. And it was just so freaky, and we were just talking to each other. It was just like some of the most fun that I've had over LAN play like that.
That's cool.
But the game itself was
game was shit.
Yeah,
that's a bummer, man.
Yeah, the game really sucked.
Those moments were a lot of fun.
It was just kind of a one-trick pony, because once you figured that out, and you figure it out pretty early in game, then it's like really easy. But it's just, that was an unfortunate follow-up. However, I am still optimistic for the next one in the series.
And then another one I think everybody's got to play at some point is Alien Isolation. If you haven't played it, check this game out. You're a one-on-one with a xenomorph, and it is learning your stealth tactics as you go, and it changes it. There's the AI in it is incredibly good, and just how they do the atmosphere, the environment, everything. I don't know if I've ever been more freaked out in a game than Alien Isolation. That is so well done.
It's funny, I didn't play Isolation a lot, but I did play a little bit of Alien Resurrection, and sort of similar feeling with that, you going around the ship and it's dark and everything like that, and just that might be the most overall sort of feeling of dread and just feeling scared playing a game that I've ever had, because when that face hugger gets on you and everything, it's frightening, or when a xenomorph jumps out, it is fucking terrifying. And so a lot of those Alien games were really well done in that regard. Jeff, do you have any other ones you want to throw out?
I was gonna just say some more about Resident Evil.
Go ahead.
Because I was thinking about it as we were talking. Because of the tank controls of the old games, that's what made it so difficult. Where to go forward, or whichever way your character is facing, you have to press up to move in that direction. And it's if you want to move them to the left or right, or have them change which way they're facing, you push left or right, and then you have to move up again to have them move forward there. Those types of controls are really hard to get used to. And so, it's janky and it's hard to get out of situations, which is partly why I was so scared a lot of times playing. And then I forgot the Resident Evil 1 remake, the one for the GameCube. Not only is it one of the best remakes of all time, I think it's just one of the best games of all time. That thing is beautiful. It's my favorite Resident Evil game, I think, just because it's just so top notch. The Crimsons, which is if you killed a zombie in the original game, okay, it was dead. Now, if you don't get a headshot, or if you didn't burn it and you didn't know this, if you go into that room later, it came back to life as a super zombie called a Crimson Head. And the first time we experienced those, I mean, oh my God, I almost shit myself. I wasn't even playing. All right. I was terrified. I was terrified just watching this happen. And
turn the music on.
And we only played it like, all right, what happened was a buddy of mine got that game and we played it as a group. And we only played it in the middle of the night, like on Saturdays, like really late. Like we'd go back to his place. So it'd be like 1 a.m, which is a terrible time to play a Resident Evil game. Even with a group of people in the same room. And another time I remember he was playing it and I was sitting on the couch watching and I had like my arm up, resting it, and his cat was walking by and the cat like touched my arm and I jumped out of the couch. I screamed like a little sissy girl and I was so scared. And the other 2 people who were in the room just sat there and looked at me. I'm a bitch, gentlemen. You've been friends with me for years. You knew this.
I love this reveal. No, but it makes you feel alive.
Yeah. No, there's a real joy from that. I mean, like I loved that game. I still love that game, and I love that feeling. It's so much fun. I mean, I don't exactly seek it out, but I'm happy when it happens.
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of it. It's fun to be scared.
I'm as bad as John.
Yeah, kind of. Let's continue on sort of the same track, but our favorite horror video games. I know, Jeff, if you want to expand upon why the Resident Evil franchise is just so special to you and impactful to so many people. I mean, it is one of the more iconic video game franchises of all time.
Well, because I mean, it's survival horror. I think it's the one that sort of coined that phrase. I can't think of the name of the game from the 80s that it was going to be a remake of, and then they changed it, where it was The Haunted House, some Japanese game, and they even made a movie out of it and everything. But zombies are popular. Zombies weren't necessarily...
Is it Alone in the Dark?
Might have been, I don't remember. Where they're doing a documentary on like some ghost house or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it then. But yeah, zombies weren't necessarily that popular yet, so it put zombies really more... in the public once again. It had been a couple of decades since they were a big deal. The haunted house setting of the first one, I think that's one of the good things, is all of the games are pretty iconic in different ways. You had the haunted house, you had the deserted city. Resident Evil 3 was more of just like a offshoot of Resident Evil 2, so it was more of the deserted city. You had like crazy islands that you were going to in Code Veronica X. It's all this like real bizarre stuff. The rural village in 4, it was just these settings are like so creepy and unique and interesting. The story is awesome. Even though it is a horror game, it also has that sci-fi component to it because it's about a pharmaceutical company that's doing a lot of shady shit. So you have the government conspiracy people because they had that entire small town in their pocket. You have like the special ops police force, so it's almost like a Predator type situation, like the original movie, where it's like these special forces people going against this like supernatural terror. You had a traitor in the midst among the people.
Among Us.
Yeah. Albert Wesker is sus.
I loved Wesker too.
How can you not love Wesker? Sunglasses at night, he's the man.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw Wesker, how cool I thought he was.
Yeah, exactly.
I was so bummed out when he betrayed everybody.
Yeah, what a dick.
Yeah. Well, what I loved about Wesker is then he kept coming back. Like, it took Capcom forever to kill off Wesker because he was such a cool character.
And
the coolness
rightfully
factor
so.
was there, man. I mean, they just I loved all of Wesker's interactions with Chris Redfield. I guess that's the other thing that's so enduring about Resident Evil is all of the great memorable characters. Chris Redfield now is like such a super meme ever since he punched that boulder in 6. But he's great. Leon S. Kennedy will always be my favorite character. Resident Evil 2 was my introduction to the series. I just love the idea of a rookie cop, first day on the job. The city is overrun by zombies. He's still just doing what he can to help as many survivors as possible. He's just idealistic and young, but brave and capable.
It's kind of like Tommy Muldoon.
He kind of is like a Tommy Muldoon. And Claire Redfield obviously is amazing. Jill Valentine is outstanding. Barry, Carlos. I love a lot of the characters. I'm not a huge fan of Resident Evil 7. It's a little too Texas Chainsaw Massacre-y for me in terms of the setting and the style of it. So I'm not big on that, but I love all of the classic ones. I enjoyed the RE2 remake. I did not like the RE3 remake, other than Carlos's hair. Thought it looked awesome. But I guess it's the collection of all those things. Really, the fact that it spawned survival horror, which is now everywhere, where you're not supposed to fight everything. You are supposed to just move on to the next stage. You have to conserve your ammo. And then if you do that sort of thing, it's a cakewalk at the end.
It's an important lesson for them to learn too. Like, just because.
Oh yeah.
I feel like as a headstrong young person, it's always like, no surrender. Like I want to kill everything. And like,
well, because I mean that's sort of like what you know about games up until that point. It's like I'm gonna fight and I'm gonna kill all these zombies. But when you think about it, it's like, well, is Leon really gonna shoot every zombie he comes across? He's not cleaning out the city. You're not playing one of those video games where you're a one-man army. Yeah, he's just trying to survive. And I find the stories really engrossing. I've actually even read the books by S.D. Perry. I do recommend them, even though they're a little cheesy. I think there's.
What do you think about the movies?
7. The movies for me are a guilty pleasure. They are. What I hated the first movie when it first came out. I mean, I was super looking forward to it, and that was a great thing too because we saw the last showing that night. It was like 10:15 on a Friday. Theater was packed. You could tell everybody was really on the edge of their seat because like during the credits, or not the credits, during the trailers, the coming attractions, everybody was laughing a little too hard at all the shitty trailers. It's like, uh-oh, everybody's having a fun time. We're all trying to have a fun time here. Hey, we're all cool. We're all just,
Jeff's got his headphones on, listening to Walking on Sunshine.
Dude, that's one of the songs I used to play, Walking on Sunshine. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I had this weird mix, and it was my Resident Evil mix.
That's amazing.
But then, I mean, the original movie, I was so bummed because they're barely in the mansion. They only do like the underground laboratory part, which there isn't even an underground laboratory in the first game. There's an underground laboratory in the second game. So that pissed me off. Also, they didn't have any of the characters from the first game. I wanted to see the stars. And they didn't do any of that. They just had a bunch of like Umbrella operatives where it's like, well, fuck them. They're kind of like the bad guys, like they work for that company. Even if they don't know, like a Carlos, it's like, oh, fuck it. I don't really care about the Umbrella Rescue Squad as much as I do actual police officers going up against all that stuff. But I thought the second Resident Evil was good. The third one is my least favorite, where they're in the desert. And then the ones after that, they're so off the wall, batshit crazy.
Bonkers.
That's like, you know what, man? Just fuck. We're having fun. At least, like, then they're throwing in like Chris Redfield and Leon Kennedy and Barry Burton and stuff like that. It's like, I appreciate that. That's pretty cool. And what's so weird is I never thought I would see Leon Kennedy in the movies because when I went to Comic-Con before the second one came out, and they had a Raccoon City newspaper promoting it. And it had Jill Valentine, a picture of her, and it was like an article about Jill Valentine and stuff like that. And I loved how the actress looked because she looked just like her from Nemesis. And this is before movies were really like that accurate for things, and the Resident Evil ones never were anyway. And it talked about how her police partner Leon Kennedy had just been found dead or something like that. I was like, oh fuck, they killed Leon off, before they even put him in a movie. I so badly wanted him to be in the second movie, and they didn't do it. And then I'm such an idiot. I thought this small rotation newspaper at a San Diego Comic-Con was like now movie canon. I was like, well, they can't do Leon because they already killed him off in that newspaper that nobody read. But then they did bring him. They had him like all stylized from 4, like with his cool jacket and his like his sick hair and everything like that. But it was just cool to see him on the big screen. What I'm also happy about the movies is since they are so bizarre, you can go back and remake them and make them more accurate to the games. And like, we're not losing anything for it. I think at least the first couple of games are such solid stories that you could easily make it a movie. And I think a lot of people would really appreciate it and enjoy it. I don't know so much about some of the later ones, but I mean, yeah, definitely 1 and 2.
I would love to see that for sure. Davis, how about you? Any favorite horror games that we haven't touched on yet?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. There's American McGee's Alice. Did you guys play that one?
Did not play that.
It is a take on Alice in Wonderland, and she is like 10 years after the story. And like she's been in a mental institution because her parents were killed, and she goes back to Wonderland, and it is messed up, man. This whole game
I know that
is
game,
just all sorts of just crazy imagery and just scary shit in Wonderland, and it is such a fun ride to do. It's a great story. The sequel's just as good too, so you can play both of those. Those ones I love. Dead Space was always one that I had a really hard time playing at night. That one, that one freaks me out.
Amazing concept, great concept.
It was great. I mean, when you're deep in space, I mean, it works in film, it works in video games, it works anywhere. It's just a great concept, and it was done really, really well. One of the original like indie horror games, Amnesia: Dark Descent. That is a game I don't play at night. I never did. I played in daylight. The imagery, the characters were far too well done.
Well, now we gotta go on Twitch and play it only at night.
I don't know if I can do it now, man. They did.
All right, but I
got
to turn all the lights on in my house.
I'm walking on sunshine.
Can we have some candy? And let's just make this a happy place.
I want to be surrounded by my loved ones.
So you got to shout out for that one. And then the last one is a more recent one. It's called The Forest. And the cool thing about The Forest is the AI. The AI is done so well that it's just sometimes they'll follow you to like back to your hideout to see where it is, and then you'll get attacked later. Sometimes they run right at you. Sometimes they just straight up sprint.
What are we dealing with? Are these zombies or what?
Cannibal type people.
Okay.
And you're just in the forest trying to figure out this mystery, and it's just the music's great. The environment is just really well done, and it's just creepy. It's just a creepy game.
I've got to check that one out. I haven't heard of that one.
And then I got to shout out for a little shooter zombie game, Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Oh hell yeah!
And Left 4 Dead 2 are some of the funnest zombie shooter games to play with friends. You're just going through level, and then the final standoff at the end of each level is so much fun. Just wave after wave of zombies coming after you, different kind. The tanks are coming. The
witch.
The witch. Nobody shoot the witch, and then your asshole friend always shoots the witch and kills you and locks you in the room. Yeah, it's you. It was always you. So that game's a lot of fun. But yeah, the ending level at the top of the building, I think it was the first Left 4 Dead, that final scene, it's just like the end scene of every horror zombie game where they're trying to get a helicopter off the top of the building and you get to play it finally. It's great.
Yeah, those games were a big time phenomenon for, kind of just a flash, but there was a moment there where they were the Left 4 Dead games were a big deal. And was very cool to play. Like I'd be down to revisit those. It was a fleeting moment. I have to circle back to Until Dawn, which we mentioned, some of the scares, but in terms of just a game that encompasses everything that I love about Halloween and horror films and just everything that comes along with that, Until Dawn, I think, has nailed it better than any horror game ever. And I have to thank you, Davis, for randomly showing it to us one day. I think it was before we were going to go see Spider-Man Homecoming. And we were playing it before going over to the theater. It was you, Courtney, Jeff, and I. And it's a game where you're playing these teenagers. I think they're all at the very start of the game in the prologue, they're seniors in high school. And then it's like their freshman year in college, and they go up to this cabin up on the mountain, Blackwood Pines, which is owned by one of the characters' parents. And it's such a love letter to so many just classic horror stereotypes. You've got the catty girl, you've got the jock, all these different, the smart sort of funny, like awkward one, just all these sort of stereotypes that exist in a lot of horror films are in Until Dawn. And the fact that you get to choose what they say, the fact that they mocapped in, like Brett Dalton is essentially one of the co-main character of the game, and Hayden Panettiere is the other main character of the game. Oscar winner, what's his face from the Queen movie is what's his name? Damn it!
Oh, you got the one that mattered. Hayden's in it. That's all that matters.
Yeah. But so I'm gonna look it up. It's gonna bother me now. Bohemian Rhapsody. Who was in Bohemian Rhapsody? Fuck.
Hey Google.
Hey Google. Oh, Rami Malek. Rami Malek is in the fucking game. And like you're dealing with not only a slasher type killer, but you also deal with supernatural stuff like Wendigos. There's a Dr. Loomis-esque character. Yeah, there's a Dr. Loomis-esque character in it. And again, the fact that you can choose sort of your own adventure with it, and that there's this butterfly effect of ramifications for it. I love that, and I love playing it with you guys because we could vote on what we were gonna do. I love that. It's a great group game, and it's a great game to play by yourself if you want to freak yourself out. And it plays out like a movie or a television series. It even does like chapters like previously on Until Dawn, like it's a TV show on the CW or whatever, which I absolutely love. Even how after the prologue, it intros in with this badass theme song and everything played. I was like, oh, I just like, this is the best. Like this is everything I've ever wanted in a horror video game. Like I have bought the game on 4 separate occasions to like if I'm in like a different place. I think I was visiting home and I didn't have it with me, but I wanted to play it with the Cool Twins, so I just went and bought it. Same thing when I visited another friend, and it's like I love this game. And I'm so happy, Davis, that you introduced me to it because I got unnaturally obsessed with it. And I just that's why I was so disappointed by Man of Medan, because I was so excited for the follow-up. And it just didn't live up to it. But playing Until Dawn still holds up. Just like I binge watched Haunting of Hill House again last week, which, by the way, I did go all the way through it again. Maybe I'll play Until Dawn later. I don't know. But what can you say about Until Dawn, Jeff? Did you have fun playing with us? What did you think about the game?
Yeah, that one afternoon or evening or whatever. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a cool story. From what I saw, I liked the mechanics of it. I don't have too much to say because I only played it that one day and I didn't even play.
Spoiler, there's Wendigos, so...
Yeah, I don't know if I knew there were Wendigos.
I don't
think you got that far.
I don't think so.
Sorry.
What are the scary...
Okay.
Spoiler alert, everybody. It's kind of a scary reveal that I just ruined. Just like Darth Revan. What did you think about Until Dawn, Davis?
One of the scariest parts of that game is handing off the controller to somebody else so they can play as your characters. And then they're in their fate. We were playing with...
Perhaps handing it off to your girlfriend that doesn't play video games and has had a couple of drinks and says, if I get scared, I'm just going to throw the controller. And there are no saves in Until Dawn. So what this person does is going to fuck up the whole game that we've been playing. But continue, Davis.
Yeah, no, should I go down this dark hallway with a shadowy name figure kind of slightly calling my name from under this... wood crate? Should I open
poor
that?
Ashley.
No,
poor Ashley.
You probably shouldn't open that. I'm going to open it. Okay, there goes our character. So
yeah.
So that stuff can happen.
That is one of the most vivid memories I have of playing Until Dawn, because it was from that same Spider-Man Homecoming playthrough. I was extremely invested in our story and what we had done, and when
that's
that
the canon
happened,
one.
and listen, if your lovely girlfriend ends up listening to this episode, I have nothing but affection. But I sat there quiet. I sat there quietly, and then
James and I just looked at each other
I waited what I thought was an appropriate amount of time, and I politely excused myself for the evening because I was not pleased by how that it turned out. Because
James texted me that night on the way back to his place, fucking bitching about how awful the situation had gotten and that the story was ruined.
James had a very specific
He said
set
she
of
was
characters.
too scared to play.
He knew who he wanted to try to live and who to die, and he thought he could fix it that way.
Yeah, that's the one. That's
You
one of
can,
the
though,
great
right?
things about Until Dawn is that you can like, especially if you've already played it once, but I mean, you kind of know like that, like it telegraphs what, you know, a character could die in certain areas. There are some times where it legitimately surprises you, like Matt the jock can get killed in a few horrifying ways that you do not see coming. And that's pretty cool. And but there are certain characters that, like, if I'm directing this horror film or if I'm writing this horror film, there's certain characters like you can get a playthrough where all of the characters live, like the main characters. There are certain ones that have to die. They're side characters, but the teens can all live if you play it a certain way. But there are some characters that's like, dude, I want a little bit of a body count in Until Dawn 1, So Emily, who is the bitchy girl character. She's the know-it-all. She treats Matt like shit. She cheated on him. She's mean to Jess just because Jess is hotter than her and sluttier. And
any relation to Emily is Away by chance?
Oh, that's it's an interesting question. No, she's not as nefarious as Emily is in Emily is Away. But it's like Emily also has the most ways in which she can die, and all of them are awesome. So I make sure that she does not make it. I hate it when Emily lives. She actually lived by accident one of my more recent playthroughs. And I was like, damn it. I didn't want to have to go back and replay the whole chapter again. So I just let it lie. But Emily is the worst. It's such a great game. But yeah, that was that was maybe the most terrifying scare of all time, Davis, is when Courtney ruined our game.
It was a horrifying moment, to say the least.
It was terrible. I didn't have a PS4 at the time, too. Like, I had to use my friends, so I was like, God, I gotta wait until I'm like dog sitting again to fix this.
I can't believe how many times you ended up buying that game. It still baffles me.
I mean, it was pretty cheap, and a small price to pay for spreading the good news that is Until Dawn. Skip Man of Medan, not nearly as good. Another one that I really, really liked was Alan Wake. Which it's about a horror writer, and he goes up to like this cabin with his wife, and all this weird stuff starts happening. Like she gets abducted, and the whole game is like everything's fine during the day, but at night shit goes crazy, and the whole like sort of engine of the game runs off of the battery of your flashlight. Like, so when you run out of light, you're fucked, dude. Like, all the scaries get you. So it is a scary game. It makes you feel very uncomfortable. And like the save points or the checkpoints are when you find like a light post or a lamp post where you can recharge your batteries and continue on. But there's some messed up stuff that happens in that game. Really like that one. Any other ones that we haven't thrown out there yet in terms of the video games that people? I know Outlast is a big time favorite. I never really got into Silent Hill. And I know people are gonna be like, I can't believe you guys didn't talk Silent Hill. It missed me. I didn't really get into it. I don't think any of us did.
I feel like you were either Resident Evil or Silent Hill. I was always into Resident Evil myself because I wanted the zombie action. So I felt like most people were playing one or the other, and there wasn't a whole lot of crossover.
I watched the movie.
I haven't even done that. I don't think I've ever played Silent Hill except for at the Konami suite at San Diego Comic-Con one time. I don't even know which Silent Hill that was.
Oh yeah, we played.
I don't
with
really
Brandon.
even know like the general story of Silent Hill.
Where would you guys fall on Last of Us? Would that be?
Yeah, that counts for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if that counts, then that is an amazing game. The story in that, the gameplay.
Oh yeah, totally.
The creatures. I mean, you can skip the second one, but that first
game
is just It's
second one no good.
It's not.
Have you not been online?
Touch the first one.
I've been playing Among Us. Second one no good. This is the first time. I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it just doesn't improve on anything, and it's just kind of more of the same. So usually in a sequel, you want to kind of step up your game a little bit. So
gotcha.
First one is solid though. They're a great story.
Yeah.
Has anyone played the Telltale Walking Dead games or anything like that?
Nah.
Okay.
I played a chapter or two, but it didn't hold my attention.
What are those Japanese games where you take pictures of the ghosts? You have that camera, and it's like the closer they get to the camera, or like to you, it's like it's a better shot, and you get more points for it, or whatever.
Yeah.
I was watching a buddy play that. I remember years ago, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm not taking
creepy.
a turn." No thanks.
Creepy.
Yeah, the same for me. And it's and it's Ghost doing like weird stuff like in those Japanese movies, like all bent and contorted and walking down the stairs in weird ways.
Yeah, I see, and that stuff, I love that stuff. It does such a good job of freaking me out. And I know there's like shout out House of the Dead and like Area 51 in terms of like the sort of horror arcade games genre and stuff. Like those definitely have a place. Like the terrible voice acting in House of the Dead is so endearing to me. I was actually just talking about it last week with because I was talking about Shenmue with somebody how bad like the voice acting is in that game, and just like it reminds me of House of the Dead. No. Why? It's just so good. But they have a place. But let's do a Mark Truex Fantastic Four, your all-time 4 horror games before we go to break here. What are your top 4? In no particular Mount Rushmore style, your Fantastic Four of horror, Jeff?
Fantastic Four, more like Frightful Four, the Fantastic Four's rivals, since we're doing October stuff.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mark's
gonna go back and retcon that. Even
Keep
better.
up, Mark.
What a much better idea.
Yeah, well, this is what he. Listen, kid reads DC Comics. All right, what does he know about the Fantastic Four and who they face?
Valid point.
Yep. you got to follow the career of Paste Pot Pete. That's where it's at. It's good to have a Paste Pot Pete reference on Tenno Media finally.
Yeah.
That's old school BDNS.
People have been waiting for it.
Yeah. Give them what they want. For me, all 4 of the ones that I'm listing aren't a single game. It's all an entire series. So the first one,
just like with the Muppets, with Statler and Waldorf, and
hey,
stuff
listen,
like
man,
that.
you want me to do a Frightful 4 Resident Evil series? I'll do that right now. We'll do that all day.
Nope, I totally
not all
get
night
it.
though, because I don't play.
As somebody that has been, so he's been in your shoes, I allow it. Go ahead.
No surprise, obviously, I'm going to say the Resident Evil series. And then I'm going to say Castlevania, because those games are just amazing. I'm saying Silent Hill, because even though I haven't played them, I do respect the longevity of the series and the presence it has in video game culture. And then the next series I'm going to say, Davis actually referenced it earlier, and he said he didn't really consider it too much horror. I'm going to say BioShock, because I think the first 2 are pretty scary. And I think they're a lot of fun. First-person shooters, I think, are just always a terrifying way to go with games if you want to make them scary. And Rapture, what a great setting. The demented people that still technically live there, the splicers, creepy as hell. I was just talking about that Japanese game with the cameras. They had that camera mechanic in the first one where you had to take pictures of the different splicers. That's how you would get like advantages to doing damage against them. Like the Houdini teleporting ones. Oh God, all that was too much for me. So those are my 4. My Frightful 4.
All right, my Frightful 4. I will go Until Dawn, to the surprise of no one after what I've just said. That is if you have not played Until Dawn, I am sorry for the spoiler about what some of the baddies are in it. Maybe I'll... Anyway, yeah, fucking shit, man. I'm sorry about it, but Until Dawn's great. I'll buy you one, okay, to make up for it. If you're upset, message me. I will buy you a copy of Until Dawn. I actually won't, but I might. Until Dawn is definitely on my Frightful 4. Eternal Darkness, also no surprise. It's, in my opinion, the greatest Lovecraft video game of all time. The use of the sanity meter, it was innovative at the time, and I still think the best that it's ever been done, and it's legitimately captures that sense of dread. There's lots of great memorable characters, just like in Until Dawn. Resident Evil, Jeff has spoken very eloquently about why that belongs, so no further explanation needed there, as well as Castlevania. Not the scariest game, but your vampire hunters, it's Dracula. You got to include it on there. So that's my Frightful 4. Davis, what is yours?
My Frightful 4 isn't going to have too many different ones.
What is that noise?
That is my dog going after us.
That's a jump scare.
I wish I could control her. So my Frightful 4, we're going to start off with Doom. It's a first horror shooter. I think it has to be
Great
on
choice.
There. It's
just
classic. It just had so much influence on games. A lot of my picks here is just based on influence and what they've done. Resident Evil 2 for me. Resident Evil 2 was my favorite of the series. I think did so much in the second one just to grow off the first one that kind of just did everything else for a lot of other games. The indie game that kind of started a lot more horror games, Amnesia, Dark Descent that I mentioned earlier, just the imagery, everything that game did, it accomplished at every level. And this is really getting taken away by this squeak, man. This is
sorry, it's distracting.
And then the last one, you guys both had it, Castlevania. It's one of the original
disappointed in you,
games.
Davis.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not disappointed in you. I'm disappointed that Courtney ruined Until Dawn for you so much that you left it off of your Fright 4. I understand it, but I went out and righted her wrongs. So
Left 4 Dead would be top 6 probably. I'm sorry. Until Dawn. Until Dawn would be top 6. I think Alien Isolation would actually probably fall.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of great horror video games for sure. There's also a lot of very good horror board games that you might not know about, and we're going to talk about that on the other side on the Best Damn Nerd Show.
What up, nerds? Lore Master Tim here. We're excited to be delivering your weekly fix of nerd culture, but it's not enough. We need your life force to sustain us. So use those hot little hands to subscribe, rate, and review us on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or however you take your medicine. One of our favorite pastimes on the BDNS is reading fan mail on air. So sing us a song of hatred or love, and you may just hear your beautiful words being featured on an episode. That's why it's important, nay, essential, to rate and review us. Until then, as always, nerds, say it loud, say it proud.
It's the microphone alchemist Bimbo Jimbo here, and when I'm not verbally super kicking Last Jedi fans on the Best Damn Nerd Show, or fantasy casting The Rock in another movie on the DLC, well, that's when I actually get to talk about wrestling. That's right, come join me in the Wrestling War Room, where I take my mic to the mat and launch my hot takes about the Wednesday Night War between AEW and NXT. The Wrestling War Room, which side are you on?
Hi, I'm Mark Truex, and you may know me as the CSO of Star Labs from the Best Damn Nerd Show, and I'd like to invite you to join me and the Imperial Commissar Jeff Budd on another podcast of ours, the Ultra Monthly Podcast, a retrospective and monthly show where we dive deep into the Ultraverse, the 1990 superhero comic book universe from Malibu Comics, and we believe it's prime time. The Ultraverse got the love it always deserved. Are you an Ultraforce fan? We are too. You missed the glory of the 90s comic book boom? So do we. And are you obsessed with these Ultras? Damn right we are. And you can join us monthly as we geek out over classic characters like Prime, Mantra, Rune, and the Nightman. So jump on now to the Ultra Monthly Podcast and subscribe today on Spotify, iTunes, and everywhere podcasts are found.
Welcome back to the Best Damn Nerd Show. One final segment here as we are wrapping up talking about horror and gaming. And I want to talk now about board games and horror, which, I was giving Davis a lot of credit for introducing me to Until Dawn, one of the greatest video games, period, ever made. But I want to give Jeff a lot of credit here because I think you probably introduced me. I don't remember the origins of my playing Arkham Horror. But I would imagine that you were a part of that, or if not, certainly soon after. But you certainly introduced me to a lot of scary board games that I absolutely love. I think the first one was Zombies. But Jeff, you are the resident board game expert here. Talk about sort of the impact of horror and board games, and what are some of in your opinion, the best ones?
Well, I mean, you said Resident, so why don't we talk about Resident Evil 2, the board game?
No!
There ain't no escape, son!
God, I don't have enough bullets to put in Jeff.
No, I think the fun thing about horror in the board game setting is kind of like what we were talking about, like with video games and everything. It's nice to be able to share it with other people. Like I'm thinking of my experiences with the Resident Evil video game series that I'd play like in a room full of people, or some of those like co-op games we were talking about. The board games, I'm trying to think of all the horror board games I have. I almost feel that it's almost always us versus the game. So it does
not
make
Fury of Dracula.
Fury of Dracula. Yeah, and actually in Last Friday for that matter too. But yeah, I mean, for the most part though, you do play as a team, and it's either one person or it's the game versus everybody. I think it's just another fun way to kind of explore the horror genre. Some of it is based on either books or movies. Other things are just unique on their own, but all of them are always a blast. And with the way board games are designed now, I mean, you can really do anything with them. It's pretty cool, the different diverse games that we have.
Yeah, and like I said, you introduced me to Zombies, which was the first
Simple,
game.
dude, but beautiful.
Yeah. Incredibly simple. The board, like the replay value of the board building itself each turn as it goes along is really cool. Space can kind of become at a premium in a game like that, but like that's a tremendous zombie game. And I love that the victory conditions are you either kill like 20 or 25 zombies, or you reach the helicopter pad, like Davis was saying
to be the
earlier.
last place put down.
Yeah, because it's super cool.
Classic ending to like a zombie movie. So yeah, no, that was perfect. What I loved is you and I, we get so wrapped up in playing the game. There was numerous times where we would just push back the win conditions so that we could continue to play. Because it's like we didn't get a chance to explore the police station yet. And you got to kill 30 zombies. You got to kill 35.
Quote Vince McMahon, I make movies. Like that's what we're doing. I love the narrative that you can create in a board game like Zombies.
My favorite component about Zombies is the way it works is it's map tiles. So everybody starts in town square, and then you're trying to make it to the helicopter, which is at the very bottom of all the town pieces. When you draw a town piece at the beginning of your turn, you have to have it connect with the other roads that are on the spaces already on the table. And you have to put a certain amount of zombies on the map tiles. So if you're playing with like a group of people, the number of zombies just, it exponentially grows and things get out of control very quickly. Because on like maybe the first person's turn, they put down a tile and they only have to put down 2 zombies, and then they roll the move and they even kill the 2 zombies. It's like, well, this is simple. And then before you know it, you are completely overrun. And that's so reminiscent to me of like what a zombie movie is like. You usually come across like one zombie to start things off, and it's slow moving, and you're like,
you think
it's really not that intimidating when you think about it. And then they are legion, and there's like 30 coming at you, and you're not in a wide open space. You're in a narrow area where there may not be a way out, and it's like now you understand the threat and the fear,
and the dice can be unforgiving.
Exactly.
Very.
Yeah, when you first start off and you have your 3 hearts and you have your 3 bullets and stuff, it's like, I could roll a 1 and still kill a zombie with my 3 bullets. This isn't a big deal at all. But it's like, oh man, you start having to guard that. I love that game. I haven't played it in a long time. I want to say like the first 6 expansions. I also have like the original version of Zombies, so it's like where everything was black and white. They didn't have it color coded yet.
That's why it's the board game, man.
Fun.
Yeah, it's super fun game. Love that. You also introduced me to Fury of Dracula, which
great game.
That is a phenomenal game. Take us through a little bit about what that's about.
Fury of Dracula is like the unofficial sequel.
I'm going to wait for you to get done setting it up, and then I'm going to tell you to stop talking about it. It's an inside joke. Continue on, Jeff. The backstory there is it takes a lot of setup, and Jeff set it all up one time, and then these doinks didn't want to play anymore after he got it set up, which is very rude. But what is Fury of Dracula about, Jeff?
I should have set that fucking house on fire after packing up Fury of Dracula. Yeah, so Fury of Dracula is goddamn. It's like the unofficial sequel to the novel Dracula. It takes place like 10 years later. And Dracula has risen again, and the characters from the book reunite, and you travel around all of Europe, and one person is Dracula, and then 1 to 4 people are the different characters, and they all have different attributes and skills, and you're traveling to different cities across Europe trying to find Dracula. It's like a hidden movement game for Dracula, so you have to track him down. You have to face off against him at least a few different times to full on kill him. He has different henchmen that he can use. It's really cool. I don't know if it's still a Fantasy Flight game or not. It might be. Yeah, it still is. But it originally was just a Games Workshop game, and now I think they do the co-op printing or whatever. But I highly recommend it. I have one of the older editions. There's, I think, been a couple of newer ones now, but people still sing its praises. So whatever the newest edition is, it's highly worth it. I love the miniatures. Actually, the game belongs to my dad because he's such
I
a
love
Dracula fan.
how your dad plays it. Tell them, please, how your dad plays the. First of all, this is the second appearance for your dad in board games, so I love how he plays it. Fill us in.
So my dad will always be Dracula. He doesn't want to be any of the other. He doesn't even want to be Van Helsing. He just wants to be Dracula, and he will every
Doesn't wanna be
time. It's
Zargon
supposed to be
either.
hidden movement for Dracula, but my dad will always do the exact same travel that Dracula did in the original novel. He'll start he starts in London, and then he always wants the final confrontation to be at Dracula's castle. That's where he wishes to be defeated.
The man loves a good narrative, just like myself.
And like my brothers and my dad have gotten into like arguments about it. My brother's like, you have to change it up. You have to.
That sounds like a conversation with. That sounds like Tim Childs and Baltar.
Yeah. Tim plays Guy as Baltar. Doesn't matter what the rules are for Battlestar Galactica. My dad plays Dracula the exact same way, no matter what. Doesn't matter that it's removing a major component to the game's design. That's how it's going to be. You want to face my dad? You go to the castle and you face him like a man.
I absolutely love that. You know what? In dedication to character, I would have liked to have seen it from him as Zargon in Hero Quest, but, you know.
He refused to do it.
Yeah, he didn't know what to do.
He's like, want to go through the whole rule book. You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. I'm 10 years old. You're going to make a 10-year-old boy play the boring part in a board game? And then you're playing the barbarian?
Davis, I know you introduced me to that Arkham Horror-esque card game.
Yeah.
What was is that Elder Sign or is that just Call of Cthulhu? What was that?
No, that is Arkham Horror, the living card game. Just
okay.
Yeah. LCG there. And I love that game so much because it's a decently easy setup, and it just has just very simple horror elements where you're just deciding which way to go, and then you're just flipping cards over to figure out like what sort of creature's gonna attack you, and it just sets up these environments where, you know, you go down the basement and, you know, this icy cavern opens up to everyone, and it's just like it just sends chills through your bones, and just the narrative to it is just really well done, especially for a card game. So it's just a smaller, simpler version, I think, than the board game Arkham Horror. But
yeah, and that to me is kind of key. Like I definitely fell in love with Arkham Horror, and then I became terrified of anybody wanting to play it because it is such an undertaking, and you don't play it that often. For me, it's kind of like whenever I go back to Vegas and I haven't played craps in a while, it's like I got to relearn how to play this game, which is very fun, but it's just not sort of like intrinsic knowledge that I possess on how to play it correctly. I can kind of wing it.
And then the one time that we play Arkham Horror and you set it up, and it takes you.
That was Mansions of Madness.
Oh,
that was
okay.
Mansions of Madness.
Well, that game takes a long time.
That.
Also a great
set
game.
up too, and it's fantastic. James spent 45 minutes to set it up, and he tells Segley and I not to go through a door because we think he doesn't want us to go because we're going to win the game, but it's actually because we're going to lose the game automatically.
Well, there you go. Should have listened to me. You learn to trust that James is not sus.
Took him forever. The game lasted 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was a bummer. One game I didn't play the Thing video game. I would like to. I have not played the Thing board game, which Jeff, I know you own.
I do.
Have you played it? What is your take on it?
I have played it. I've only played it with 3 other people. I played it with my family, so I played it with my brother and my parents. It's very cool. It's kind of like Secret Hitler, Battlestar. Actually, it's more like Battlestar Galactica because you're going to different rooms in the board is basically the map of the facility in Antarctica, and you have to go on different missions, and people have different roles. It has all of the characters from the movie, which is really cool. You can play as anybody. I'm McCready.
That's awesome.
Unless I feel like being Childs. All right, like so that's it. And like they do the petri dish testing and stuff like that. You can tie people to chairs if they're sus.
Nice, Davis is sus.
Yeah,
Dude.
it's like I can't say enough positive things about it, even though I've only played it briefly. Now, good luck finding it because I think like USAopoly are the ones that printed it, and then it just had like a short shelf life, and now people are fucking price gouging online. I got it before it became too unreasonable, and then now I saw one the other day. It was like $400 or something. It's like, kiss my ass. I would rather you just download the instructions and like proxy pieces.
Is it the artwork was done by Mando? Is that why it's so big as well?
I think so. Yeah.
That could be why. I definitely want to play that one though. That's on my list to play. One of the last things that I did before the shelter in place was for the first time play Betrayal at House on the Hill. I went to my friend Chrissy's house and we played it with a big group. That game is awesome. And it is definitely, it gets hyped up, but in my opinion, it was worth the hype because there's a point in the game where you have to separate out and one group learns something and the other group learns another thing. Like, very, very cool game. And I don't know if you guys have played it, but I loved it. Davis, what was your take on it?
Yeah, I think a lot of people like it, and the hype is real on it because it's an easier game to step into. It's not that deep of a gameplay. Like the rule book isn't that big. It just takes a couple minutes to explain to somebody, and you can pick how to play, and you can just pick it up in a couple turns pretty easily. But the really cool thing about it is that, I mean, there's so many different ending scenarios. Like once you get to a point in the game, like James said, you find out something, and there are I think there's 100 different scenarios that it could be, and it's a different story, and it's a different way for the game to end, to win. So the replayability on it is incredibly high.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, and you guys might have some other ones you want to throw out briefly, but the last main one that I want to talk about is another one, a Jeff Budd introduction, a Jeff Budd production, and that is Last Friday, which is, even though we're not supposed to say so, is just a direct lift from Friday the 13th.
Merely a coincidence.
You either play as Jason, wink wink, or not Jason, wink wink.
No,
or
just a mystery killer at a summer camp.
Yeah, you go to a
with
camp, you're playing these counselors. Yeah. Jeff, tell us about Last Friday.
He's not wearing a hockey mask. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Is he?
You spent a good 10 minutes at the beginning of the episode talking about how the hockey mask is iconic. There's not a single hockey mask in the game. I don't know where you're getting this from. The last Friday of a month could never be Friday the 13th. Everybody knows that. You're obviously ridiculous. Yeah, Last Friday is an amazing game. It's another one of those hidden movement games. You have the entire board is the entire campgrounds, which is great. And there's different stages of the game. And so it's a cat-mouse game that goes back and forth. First round, the killer is on the offensive, and he's trying to kill as many counselors as he can before they escape into the cabins. Once they get into a cabin, they can lock themselves in. They've survived to the next round. The next one after that is counselors trying to get some revenge. So they get out of the cabin. They're trying to corner the killer and kill him. And then the one after that, he's not really dead, and he comes out of the lake, and he's getting revenge. And one of the counselors, I forget if it's like exactly how they choose it. It could even be random or whatever, is like the lone survivor or the last survivor or something like that. So they have like special powers. And so you have to keep that person safe for the third round and not let that person be killed. And then in the fourth round, they're the ones who can deliver the killing blow to the killer and then end the movie or the adventure forever and end the curse on the camp, which is really cool.
It's incredibly difficult.
It is difficult. I absolutely adore this game. I've only played it. No, I have. Wait, or have I only played as the killer? I forget.
No, I was the killer.
Oh yeah, you were the killer before too. Yeah. I love it. I love all the different counselors. That's another thing too. Is there's 5 different colors of the counselors. If you die, you get to replace your character in the next round. So there are other counselors for you to play as, which is a lot of fun. So you're never out. You're just out for that round. Yeah, I think it's beautifully designed. I love all the materials that come with it, except for maybe the player pawns. They're kind of simple. But the divider wall, where you can't see my hidden movements as the killer.
It's one of my
there's the
favorite
little
parts of
opening
the game.
hole that you can peek through. It's just so fun.
Jeff is such a ham. He plays it to perfection when he looks through it. It's just
years
awesome.
of playing Zargon, my friend. Years of playing Zargon.
It's really
all about
well
the pageantry.
Done. And it does a great job. It is all about the pageantry, but that game does a great job of simulating the vibes of a slasher film. And like, you know, your next step could be your last, depending on what's going on in the game. It's so good.
And
like
there's
that.
nothing more satisfying than killing somebody when they didn't know you were right there, or like they walked right into a trap. It's so, oh my God, it's so choice. I love it. And I do have the expansion where now there's another killer, some sort of dream walking monster with this claw hand who faces off. So you can have two different people play monsters against each other. And like, so imagine like, you've probably never heard of a matchup like this before, but let's say you've got zombie-like machete-wielding campsite killer versus a dream walking claw monster. And it's like the two of them just facing off. Who's going to win? Like, you don't know. Hollywood hasn't tackled this subject yet.
We could call it like Eddie versus Chasen or something like that, you know?
No, that sounds too much like Freddy versus Jason, which this is not.
Oh, yeah, nothing like it, clearly.
And then, so like, the expansion I've only played once, but it is fun. It gives you another monster you can play as. And like I said, now you can have an additional person play as a monster, which is a lot of fun. My brother was really into the idea of getting to play as play as a dream walking monster.
What?
I almost said Eddie is what I almost adopted your name. And then what's so cool about it is it's supposed to be a sequel to the first game, even though it's just this add-on expansion. And so the survivor of the first game is the sheriff now near the town. And so they're a character you can play as. There's also this young girl who's like a witch. She has like these psychic powers, kind of like from Friday the 13th part.
Really?
4? Part 3? I forget which. No, part 4, right? Where she like drowns in the lake. Yeah. So yeah, that's awesome.
I would like to play as Freddy. Like that would be fun.
There isn't a Freddy character, but yeah.
Dreamwalker, bitch.
Oh, and also, oh my God, I almost forgot. He was burned also. So like,
like Kane.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's if anything, it's a ripoff of Kane and Undertaker. So
yeah, of course.
So Vince McMahon should find out about this.
Maybe he will. No third-party apps and no games based on my characters, pal. That's great. Any other ones that we missed?
Pronouns, pal.
That Davis that you want to throw out, or Jeff, or did we hit on all the main ones?
Well, I mean, we can talk about the Resident Evil 2 board game.
Take
the magic of the video game and put it on the table.
One new one, Mysterium. Have you guys played that one?
No,
I know that name.
Yeah, it's actually gotten really popular. Again, it's like a very light game. There's not a ton of rules, and it's good for like people that don't play all the time. But you're pretty much in this mansion. Somebody's playing as the ghost, and you're trying to figure out clues to a mystery that this ghost is providing you, and you're going up different levels in the mansion to figure out the mystery. And there's just different aspects to it that are very interactive.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great party game.
Do you own this game?
No, I just played it once at a friend's house that had it.
Worthless.
Yeah, no, I definitely plan on getting it though. It's well done. It's it's simple to pick up, and I definitely recommend it.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I've really sort of come to appreciate these horror board games so much. And Last Friday is really good. Betrayal at the House on the Hill is really good. They're all Arkham Horror, which we didn't really touch on this episode. We talked a lot about in the Lovecraft episode, is a ton of fun as well. As we are wrapping up tonight, is there something that you would like to see, a horror property or concept that you would like to see be done as a video game or a board game that either hasn't been done or is in need of a reboot? Like for me, I would love to see a really, really like a touchstone top tier Halloween video game. Like, or even maybe an expansion in the Last Friday series where it's like, now we're doing like the suburb expansion, like the babysitter expansion or whatever kind of deal. But I would like to see some type of Halloween video game or board game to be like really, really good, like, and give Michael Myers and Dr. Loomis their due. Anybody else got anything they want to see, Jeff?
I will yield my time to just talk about the Friday the 13th remake that we didn't get a chance to, because I do think that was just a cool mechanic and interesting way to do it, where most people are playing as like camp counselors trying to escape the area, and then one person is playing as Jason trying to kill all of them. I used to love watching what was it on RedLetterMedia? Was it Prereq or something like that, where they would play the video games? That one was a lot of fun when they would play the Jason series or the Friday the 13th series. They did it for like a couple of episodes. I highly recommend watching those ones if you get a chance.
That's another one where it's like, it's scary.
It's scary. And then what I love is they have so many different like mechanics and like add so many different mechanics to it. Like as far as you can go and like discover like his little house. And if you're a girl character, you can dress up as his mom. Like they did in the second movie.
Yeah.
I think they've done that in a couple of the movies now, actually. And then who's like kind of his Loomis? Is it Tommy? Or who's the boy who faces him in like a few of the movies? Corey Feldman played him as a young boy. Then he's like a teenager in like a couple of the other ones. He's like in 4, 5, and 6. You can have one of the people turn into him or something like that and fight Jason, and he actually has the ability to kill Jason, which is pretty cool.
Yes, Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy.
Wait, I think.
Might be. Yeah, I don't know. Corey Feldman.
Tommy Jarvis. Yeah.
Yeah, Tommy Jarvis. That's it. And so I like the idea that they threw all of that stuff into it. I think it's really hard. You have to like jump through a lot of hoops to like get to that point. But if you have people that really know how to play the game, they can do cool things like that. And I don't know. I love it. I think that's really cool design. I would love to see that approach taken to all of our like classic franchises, I guess, to bring it back to what I'd want in a game.
Davis, how about you?
Yeah, I was trying to think of recent horror movies that I've really liked and that could be transformed. And one that I thought of was A Quiet Place with Emily Blunt.
Oh, yeah.
And John. I think that just along the lines that, because my mind's so enthralled with Alien Isolation from when I played that. I think that game could be done similar to that, but there's so many different elements from a noise factor that you have to take into account, and just the automatic suspense and horror that comes with not trying to make a sound. And I think that'd be really interesting to do in a video game. So that could be fun.
Yeah, that's a great call. That would be really good. All right, well, that is going to wrap up this edition of the Best Damn Nerd Show. Love talking horror and gaming, and keep in mind, join bestdamnnerdshow.com/Discord to vote in the finals of our first ever Horror October Madness bracket. The finals are Michael Myers versus Freddy. It's a matchup with, yeah, exactly. Not Jason. It's Michael Myers versus Freddy in the finals. So be sure to join our Discord to vote, and then we're going to see how that all plays out on the next episode. Until then, have a great week, everyone. And remember, if you're a nerd, always say it loud and say it proud.
Hey, everyone. Chris Seglia, CEO of the 10 Media Network here. Thank you so much for listening to our content, but we need your help. Please rate us 5 stars, subscribe, and give us a shining review wherever you listen to this podcast. It really, really helps us out. And one more thing, please tell a friend if you can. Tell them Tasty Steve, Hanzo Gonzo, Markman, Rip, Ricky Replay, or someone who everyone loves sent you or something. That might help. Anyway, again, thank you for listening. And if you want more, make sure to check us out at www.ten-o.gg. www.10o.gg. You're listening to the 10 Media Network.